Hello and welcome to another video. Today we will be talking about debt collectors and what power they have, what can they do and what can they not do. So let's get started. Who are debt collectors? Debt collectors are individuals or companies tasked with recovering debts on behalf of creditors. These creditors could be financial institutions, utility companies, landlords, or any other entity to which money is owed. Debt collectors typically operate within the boundaries of the law and adhere to regulations set forth by organizations like the Financial Conduct Authority (FCA) and the Credit Service Association (CSA). Now, that is how they are meant to act, but that doesn't mean that all debt collectors act in this manner. Of course, some will step outside the law, which obviously is illegal, but others will stay within the law. So it's very important to understand and know what they can and cannot do. So let's start with what debt collectors can do. Debt collectors can contact you. So debt collectors are allowed to contact you through various means, including phone calls, letters, emails, and text messages. They can request payment, so they can request payment for the outstanding debt, including any interest or fees that may have occurred. They can negotiate repayment plans with you. So they can negotiate repayment plans with you based on your financial circumstances. So they can agree on a schedule for paying off your debt, or you can pay them off in installments or at once, depending on your circumstances. Now, what can debt collectors not do? Debt collectors cannot come to your workplace. They cannot phone up your workplace. They cannot email your workplace. They cannot contact your employer or your colleagues. They cannot act in a threatening or intimidating way, cause a disturbance, force their way into your house, and they cannot take any of your belongings. They cannot clamp your car, and they cannot pretend to be bailiffs or enforcement agents. And if they do, that is a criminal offense. They cannot speak to anyone else about your debts. The only person they can speak to is yourself. Now, if debt collectors come visit you at your house, firstly, ask to see proof of ID. Make a note of their name, because all debt collectors should carry identification. You don't have to open your door to them, and you don't have to speak to them, so you can speak through the window. And you can ask them to leave. You can tell them that you will deal with the debt by phone after they have left, or in writing after they have left. And when it comes to paying off your debt, it's recommended that you pay off your creditors directly and not debt collectors on the doorstep. And if you do pay debt collectors, then make sure you get a receipt, because if you get a rogue debt collector, they might not declare that you paid off or you paid some part of your debt, which means you're still owing that outstanding amount. But now you have no proof that you did pay, and it's going to be a very difficult situation to get that money back, even if you involve the police, because you need some evidence and proof that you paid. Now, you can report debt collectors if they step outside the law. So for example, say a debt collector contacts you via social media such as Facebook or your Instagram. They are not allowed to do that, and if they do that, then take screenshots and you can report them. Debt collectors cannot contact you outside specified hours. So debt collectors can contact you between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. during the working days. But outside of those hours and days, they cannot contact you. So debt collectors cannot contact you on the weekends or public holidays. So if any debt collector contacts you outside of those hours, record it, make a note of it, and you can report them as well. Debt collectors cannot add additional cost or fees that have not been specified on the contract. And debt collectors cannot give you false or misleading information of any kind, such as company name, court action, court processes, anything like that. That is completely forbidden. And debt collectors cannot put pressure on you, so they cannot tell you that you have to pay within a certain deadline. They cannot ask you to do things that you don't want to do in order to settle any default amounts. All that is completely forbidden. You should never ever be pressurized. The debt collector has to work within what is affordable for you and what is realistic for you. They should not be pressurizing you to pay amounts that are unachievable and to be hitting impossible deadlines. So, do not be pressurized by any debt collectors at all. And if they do try to do that, again, you can report them. Now, before I end the video, I do want to make a distinction between the difference between bailiffs and debt collectors, because they are not the same. So, one of the most important things to note is that a debt collector has no special legal powers to collect a debt. A bailiff does have special legal powers. So, we already looked at what is a debt collector, so let's look at what is a bailiff. A bailiff is the old name for what are now called enforcement agents. A bailiff or enforcement agent has legal powers to collect a debt. They can be working for a private company, self-employed, or working for the council. They collect things like CCJs, county court judgments, council tax arrears, parking fines, and child maintenance arrears. Bailiffs can legally visit your home, they can remove things you own, and they can sell them to pay off your debt, which a debt collector cannot do. So hopefully that clarifies the difference between bailiffs and debt collectors. So if anyone does come to your house and knocks on the door, firstly, don't open the door, talk to them via the window, and ask to see their proof of ID. So hopefully this video was somewhat helpful. If so, give it a like, let me know your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and take care.